Alright, so we are back again. So I hope you are good. So hey, what's up guys, NPS3D here and welcome back a new tutorial. This is the season of Christmas and today is Christmas. So Merry Christmas from my side and this is a tutorial from me. So let's take a look what we are going to create today and I hope you will enjoy this because I am too much excited about the tutorial. So recently I was playing inside After Effects with some pre-model packs and I created these things. So let's take a look what we're going to create today. After that we will talk something about the tutorial and after that we'll start without any delay. So let's take a look. Alright, so the preview finished and for this particular preview I used some audio jungle music. So you can go the link in video description, so you can go there and you can check this and if you like you can buy it also. Anyway, so for if you missed my previous Merry Christmas tutorial where I created a Christmas tree with Trapcode particular, that was an amazing tutorial. You can also watch it and you can also click here and watch it and you will also get the link in video description. So without any more delay, let's get started after this intro. Alright, so let's make a new composition. And for this particular tutorial what you need, let me tell you: After Effects, Element 3D and some free model packs. So for the balloons I use Valentine's Day pack from Video Copilot. For this tree pyramid I created myself in Cinema 4D. I will put in a project file so you can download this model and you can use in your videos as well as. And for these flowers you can use, so this is the flowers from my good friend Amit Das. I will put also the link, you can go there and check it and you can also download it. There are a ton of flowers tree, they are very good. You can also use in your project. Let's get started the tutorial. New project and just click here to make a new composition. And this is the composition setting, just rename it to the, and the frame I am going to choose 1920 by 1080 and in this case let's choose 1280 by 720 so we can go faster. 24 frames. Let's just change the composition to 1920 by 1080 because I'm not happy with 720. You can just right click here and go to the new and go to the solid and you can just make it comp size. Select this layer and apply Element 3D. Right, so let's go inside the scene setup. And this is the OBJ of Xmas tree. I will also put link to download it so you can go with me. Go to the file, import 3D object and just open it and use auto normal and it will take some time to load it, right? And you will see this is come with like this, right? So I'm going to remove the matte and I'm going to increase the size something around 400 and you can also choose to the optimize mesh. So we can just reduce some vertices and we can work a little bit faster. And you can see here is a red and some two different more materials. So we will apply three different types of material in this. Let's make our test. So hit OK. Let's add a camera and make it to something around 50mm. Hit OK and switch back to the half and go to the Element 3D and switch back to the preview so we can go faster and we can at least save some time. So now let's create a new text. Just hide the Element 3D layer and just open the title action save so we can just see where is the middle area of the comp and just type. So this looks good. Select Ctrl A and select all of this and align in a center, right? So it looks good right now. So hide the Merry Christmas. Go to the camera and go to the Element 3D layer and enable it. Go to the custom layer, custom text and mask and choose your Merry Christmas letter and go again in the scene setup and just click on this button called extrude, right? So now you can see this extruded in like this. If you want to adjust the bevel, you can expand it little bit or just bevel depth if you want, or just you can also extrude it a little bit more if you want. So I'm going with the 2, and you can also do more things, but I'm going to leave it now and I'm going to move on next step, because there are tons of things we have to create and maintain and adjust. Oh my god. Anyways, so let's get on the next step. So this is the Merry Christmas letter, right? And here is a one tip from my side. Let's rename it to the text. So the next step is create a grass and the flower, right? So for the grass, you can go to the started pack physical, and here you will find a grass, right? Grass pitch. Let's put this grass in a second group, right? You can see, good one, right? Let's leave it now, and you can also make sure you optimize mesh, because in some cases our scene will be going too heavy, so it will be good. And one more, here is a magnet tree model pack. You will get the link to download from my video description. Here is the grasses, right? So I'm going to choose, so I'm choosing this one, right? In my original example I also choose this one, so looks good. And you have to do few things. Let me show you what, because all things we created, our text, trees and the grass and the flower, right? One more thing we left, the balloons, and we will create the balloons in very last. So just select the flower and just increase a little bit height, little bit more, something like this, right? Remove unused material and go to the material view and just select the MF petals, right? You can unsolo and solo to check what you selected. You can adjust a few properties. So I'm going to enable the subsurface scattering, and you don't see anything because you have to change this to triple S. And now you can just change it and see how it's affecting. So looks good right now, and let's hit OK, and let's make our scene. Let's go to the group number 2, and just because we created the grass in group 2, go to the particle replicator and change the particle shape to 3D grid. Now you can scale it, right? So we don't need any scale in Y direction, right? So we'll just type one particle in one layer in Y direction, right? So let's hide the group number 1 so we can see group number 2 objects properly, right? So here you can see. So let's increase the shape scale a little bit and increase the particle amount like grid X. So let me increase 20 and 20 also in a Z direction, and let's scale it, right? But now it's look not too good, because in reality there are some randomness, some imperfection, right? So let's add it. Go to the particle look, and here is the particle size and particle size randomness. So we'll just increase the particle randomness a little bit, like you can see. And you can also increase this one or just decrease it. It looks good, right? Let's add a plane which will work as a ground for our comp. So let's create a new plane, right? And this plane is going to be in group number 1. Make in a group number 1, right? And let's increase the size is something around 45 versus 45 in both direction, X and Y. Sorry, X and Z. And make sure this is two-sided plane so we can see it little bit better. And now you don't need to do anything, just select the material and go very down, just like a advanced section, and here is the option called matte shadow. Just click here and we will see the magic of disappear. It's gone, and this will work as a ground plane, so it will create ambient occlusion and some shadows. I hope it makes sense. So just click here and just enable show ambient occlusion, right? This is the plane, and make it down and upper. You can see, let me make it whiter. You can see some of this here ambient occlusion you are getting, right? You can see some of this. So let's make it little bit brown like this, gray. Select this plane and go to the auxiliary animation and make it to channel number 1. We are making this plane in a channel number 1 because in some cases if we have to animate, if you have to move the position of this plane, so we don't have to rotate or just move the position of whole group, so we can just particularly move this plane with auxiliary channel number 1, right? Hit OK, enable it, and now let's you can see this plane, right? So I am choosing something around here. Go to the element 3D again and go to the group number 2 because this is a group of these flowers, right? So let's increase the shape scale. You can also move the X and Z here if you want, right? Let's increase the amount of particles, right? Looks good right now. It's time to add the background, right? So let's go to the scene setup again, and for the environment I'm going to choose a separate environment. You can also choose any of these, right? So you can see the environment. We used this environment in our original example also, right? So hit OK and go to the render settings and go to the physical environment and just enable it. So now you can see this looks good, and we will just rotate a little bit, and let's go to the group number 2 again and adjust some settings. Increase the size, particle size 15 to make it bigger particle, and just make it 100. Let's put this little bit up above so it's interact with our object. Let's increase this. Let's make and adjust few settings to make it looks good. So go to the render settings, and here is a light influence. You can make it 100%, even you can make it 0. In this case I am going to choose default version, and you can also play with the gamma and the exposure. So I am going to down the exposure a little bit, and let's go to the ambient occlusion option and enable it, and let's adjust few settings. So let's increase the intensity something around 25. Don't worry about the dark, right? Dark situation, I will handle it, don't worry. So here is the radius. You can increase this radius, right, like this, and the gamma is, you can just down it a little bit or increase it. Contrast I am going to put 1, and let's down the intensity something around 20, and let's radius make it to the 10, right? So before and after, so looks good. And if your graphics card support this heavy work, so you can also move it to the ray traced. And let me show you my settings which I worked in a ray traced. We just got crashed, right? So let's reopen everything. Don't lose hope. For motivating you, let's see again the preview what we are creating right now. Alright, so we are in a same place where we stuck because we saving our project that we did not lose anything. So let's saturate the environment little bit. So this is already I saturated 12%, right? Let's make new materials to apply in our Christmas tree. So right now just create a new material, select this and make a color according to your choice. So this one I am going to choose the cyan, a diffuse and same in a reflectivity and same in a refraction also, and illumination also I'm going to choose the same, right? You'll see the material is same like we created and nothing happening on the material because we did not change any properties. So let me change it to reflectivity little bit. You can see something happening and increase little bit this one and the intensity of diffuse, or just uncheck it because we already set the color, right? So let's apply this material on any of these, right? Looks good. Let's increase the reflectivity little bit and just down the glossiness. And increase the environment multiplier to 145. So let's duplicate this material and make the color to red. For this white one will leave at it okay. And if you think it's too much bright, we can just right. So now let's create the balloons. Go to the scene setup and let's go to the Valentine's pack, and here is the balloons. So I'm going to choose which similar to our model, right? So you can choose I'm going to choose this one. There are multiple colors in this one, so it should look like the balloons are flying the tree. And select the balloons and make it to the physical shader and just add some reflection. So looks good. You can also increase the environment multiplier a little bit. Right, so now looks good, and make this balloon in a group number 3 and select the balloon and make sure this is optimized mesh. And we will create two types of balloons, one for moving all around and one for hanging the tree, right? So this gonna be hanging the tree, and let's duplicate this model, and this gonna be surrounding one, right? So just remember it, we don't need to change the names, but if you think you can forget, just rename it. So for 4 we will choose the surrounding one. So let's go to the 4 and go to the particle replicator and make sure this is also the 3D grid, and just down y1 y size y particles and just scale it something around 145. Actually 145 number is my favorite number and good number, but I'm going to choose 500. You can also go with this one, and you can hang one tree here, and this will also looks good. But I think this will kill my system, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to randomize the particle size, and also going to the multi-object and enable it. And now let's scatter it all around like this, you can see. And you can increase the size something around 5 and 5, and make it upper, and we can also give them a animation just like this is moving, just like my original example. Control S to save it. Now let's go to the render setting and enable some fog to fill the area. So go to the fog option and enable it, and you can choose the fog according to the nature. So now let's add a simple animation, right? So let's create a new null object and press F4 to make it 3D. Parent camera to the null and press P and just click the, just go to the very first frame here and make it something around here and make it below like this. Go little bit close. Go to the 6 second. I'm not going to show you the complex animation. You can also play and make it, alright? Reveal the full logo, right? And if you want to animate the rotation like Y rotation, you can also animate it. Select this keyframes and go to the and make it easy. Go to the graph editor. You can see the animation. Right, you can see it looks good. But in my original example, I animate just like it's handheld camera shooting this Christmas scene. So I just added a expression, visual expression on camera anchor point, right, point of interest. So just press A and bring out the point of interest and just press Alt and click here. Just type wiggle and just 0.6, 12, 20 actually. Let's see it. And you can see this is taking time, so you can just switch back to the draft mode. So you can just move faster, right? You can see. And if you think it's not too good, you can just increase it. 80. I just added 0.6, 80 and looks little bit better than before, right? Switch back to the preview mode and let's add the animation to the flowers, and you remember, right, this is in our this group, right? So we can just make it two types, just like we can animate the position like this, and we can also go to the multi-object and we can just animate the displacement of X and Y, right? So X and Z actually. Come over here and so it will make some sense, right? You can also give them a rotation, right? So come over here and just rotate it. Actually this is not rotating, so let's see this one rotating. So let's come over to the Z. Make it 0 because let's animate the Y. So, and you can also make it set all of these and make it to easy, right? So looks good. And if you want to add a light, so let's add a light. So let's ambient light. something around 12%. Hit OK. Let's add one more light. This gonna be our sunlight, and this gonna be our, and enable the cast shadows, right? Let's go to the custom view. So here you can see we unnecessarily created too much particles in Z direction. So go back to the group number 2, and I think X direction, sorry, in the X direction. So make sure this is also in a 48, and just make it to the 1%, or just make it 2. Let's go to the active camera and make sure this is right. This looks too much good right now. Control S, right? So remember, whenever you created a scene, just see with all direction, because you don't need to make unnecessary particles, because it will have your scene actually. So this looks good. If you want, you can also add particular to make it more real and more imaginary fantasy look, right? So let's go to the group number 4 again and just increase the balloons like 6 and save scale, right? So looks good. And I don't like our Christmas tree material, so let's go again the scene setup. Here so now looks good, right? Let's come over here and go to this part and so let's select all of these and go and just recompose it, right? Come over here and just create a new adjustment layer, and this is gonna be our CC. So we created something like this, right? Control S to save. Let's create a new adjustment layer again and make it tint, and just make the white to bright orange and dark to the something around purple and dark pink, or just a dark red type, and make it to the soft light, something like soft light, something like this, right? And we can just go to this cost effect again and reset it, and let's adjust it now. Looks good, right? And if you think the ambient illusion is too high, go to the NPS3D and just turn down the intensity something around 12, and whatever fits you, right? And you are good to go. Let's go to this here and create a new adjustment layer, and this gonna be a curve effect again, and make it darker a little bit more. Just apply a mask and just make it to the subtract, Just additive. Take this area. I have to just create some highlight and some shadow type effect. Right, you can see. I will just create something like this. I just press F and feather this. Something like this. You can see before and after. And you can also create some grain and noise to make when you are going to make it the final render. And you can also create some optical flare here, and let me switch the camera and just make it some depth of field which fill your scene a little bit more. So enable it, and the blur size is 100 and the aperture value is 25. Random seed of this grass if you want. So go to the group 2 particle look, and there is a random seed. You can change it so it will create some different types of grass, but I like the first one, right? And go to the output section, go to the render settings, and we change the, if you want to change something more here you can change it. Otherwise all looks good to me, and go to the output section again and make it enhance multi-sampling, and added this few settings to make it looks more cool. And go to the here, and you can see looks good. And we can add a optical flare here, right? But I'm not going to do that. This is the basic step for creating that things, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And you can also add some animation to these balloons, alright, and if you want. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and the tutorial is finished, and you can also check the video description for more links to download, just like the shape of this tree and everything what need to create this project, right? So switch back to the full render and go again and make it full. So let's see at least one time what our result, and I can say this looks perfect and this looks good, right? Alright, so let's see a small preview how it looks. After that the tutorial will be finished. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and let me render and let me tell you the final thing. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you love this tutorial. Keep supporting me, keep loving me, and if you did not subscribe the channel yet, I will consider subscribe my channel, because you will get a lot of things just like tutorial, tips, tricks, experiment, also breakdown and free projects file a lot here. So you can check my channel, and if you love something you can just like and subscribe my channel. And if you feel any problems, or if you face any problems, you can just leave a comment or just leave a message on my social media pages just like Instagram, and even you can follow me on Instagram where I update my all upcoming works there. And this is it, right? So this is the tutorial, and we can also add some animation to these flowers, right? So thanks for tuning me and the end of the tutorial, and I hope you enjoy the tutorial, and I hope you learn something from this tutorial. So that's it guys, and I am NPS3D, and we will see you next time with a great tutorial. That's it for now.